Have you ever felt frustrated because you study English a lot, but your progress still feels slow?
Yes, that feeling is so common. You spend time studying, but after a few days, it feels like nothing stays in your mind.
Exactly. And that is our topic today. How can you learn English faster, but in a smart and healthy way?
Not by studying all day, not by stressing yourself out, and not by chasing magic tricks.
Right, because there is no magic trick, but there are better habits.
So, if you've ever asked yourself, how can I improve faster? This episode is for you.
Welcome back to Daily English Loop. I'm Alex.
And I'm Lisa.
Today, we are going to share 4 simple ideas that can help you learn English more efficiently.
And the good news is, these ideas are not complicated. They are practical, realistic, and beginner-friendly.
Yes, you do not need special talent. You do not need to study 10 hours a day. You just need a better system.
I like that word, system.
Me too, because when learners say, "I want to learn fast," what they usually mean is, "I do not want to waste time."
That is true. Most people are busy. They have work, school, family, chores, and many other responsibilities.
Exactly. So they want their study time to actually work.
Okay, let's begin with a very common question. Alex, can someone learn English fast with only 10 minutes a day?
10 minutes is a good start. It is much better than doing nothing. But if you really want stronger results, you need more than random study. You need structure.
So 10 minutes can help, but the real key is not only the number of minutes.
Right. It is also about how you use those minutes.
That makes sense. So what is the first step?
Step 1 is this. Create a daily plan you can actually follow.
A real plan, not just a dream plan.
Exactly. Not the kind of plan where you say, "Starting tomorrow, I will study for 5 hours every day."
Yes, because those plans usually die very quickly.
They do. Let me give you an example. I once knew someone who wanted to learn a new language very badly, so he decided to study for 6 hours every Sunday.
6 hours in one day?
Yes, one huge study session every week.
That already sounds painful.
It was. He would sit with a textbook, drink too much coffee, and try to force his brain to absorb everything at once.
And I'm guessing that did not end well.
Not at all. After 1 or 2 days, he forgot a lot of what he studied. Then he started to hate the process.
That happens to many learners. They think more time in one day means faster progress, but often it just means more stress.
So what is a better approach?
A much better approach is to study for a shorter time, but do it consistently.
For example?
Around 30 minutes a day is a strong starting point for many people.
30 minutes feels much more realistic.
It does. Most people can find 30 minutes, and more importantly, 30 minutes is short enough that you can repeat it day after day.
So the real power comes from consistency.
Exactly. Consistency beats intensity when intensity doesn't last.
That is a great line.
Thank you.
But if someone studies 30 minutes every day, should they do the same thing every day?
No, that is another common mistake. If you always do the same thing, your brain gets bored.
And once you get bored, it becomes much harder to stay focused.
Exactly. So instead of repeating one activity every day, break your week into different blocks.
Give us an example.
Sure, Monday can be listening day.
So maybe you listen to a podcast episode in English.
Yes, Tuesday can be reading day.
Maybe a short article, a simple story, or a graded reader,
Right. Wednesday can be writing day.
such as a short diary entry, a few sentences about your day, or a message you write for practice.
Exactly. Thursday can be speaking day.
Speaking to a partner? That would be great, but even if you do not have a partner, you can still speak out loud by yourself.
Yes, you can talk to yourself, describe your room, talk about your plans, or repeat useful sentences.
That is still real practice.
So, this kind of weekly plan helps learners practice all four main skills without feeling stuck.
That is the idea. Your brain stays active because every day feels a little different.
I like that. It feels more balanced, too.
It is. So step 1 is not study more. Step 1 is study with structure.
Okay. I think that already makes a big difference. What is step 2?
Step 2 is active effort.
That sounds important.
It is very important because a lot of learners spend a lot of time around English, but not enough time actively using it.
You mean they listen, but they do not really pay attention.
Exactly. Or they read, but they don't stop to think. Or they watch videos in English while checking their phone.
I think many people will feel seen right now.
Probably.
So, what is the problem with that?
Passive exposure is not useless. It can help you get comfortable with the sound of English. But if you want faster progress, you need moments of real attention.
So, not just hearing English, but working with it.
Exactly. Let's use listening as an example. Imagine you're listening to a podcast and you hear a new word.
Okay.
A passive learner hears the word and keeps going.
Maybe they think, I'll remember it later.
Yes, but usually they don't. An active learner does something with the word.
Like what?
I like a simple method. Pause, write, speak.
Pause, write, speak. I like that already.
First, pause the audio.
So, do not let the moment disappear.
Right. Then write the new word down in a notebook.
A dedicated English notebook.
Yes, it helps a lot if you keep one notebook just for English.
Okay, and then comes speak.
Exactly. Say the word out loud.
Even if it feels a little awkward?
Yes, even then, move your mouth. Hear yourself say it.
That makes sense. You hear it, you write it, and you say it.
Right. You are using your ears, your eyes, your hand, and your voice.
That is much stronger than just hearing a word once and hoping it stays.
Exactly. And this method works with phrases too, not just single words.
That is important, because real English is full of useful phrases.
Yes. For example, instead of only writing the word improve, you might write the phrase, make progress in my English.
Or make progress.
Exactly. Or stay consistent.
So, learners should focus on language they can actually use.
That is always a good idea.
I think this step also helps people feel more involved. They're not just receiving English, they're interacting with it.
That is a very good way to say it. Active effort means interaction.
Okay, step 1 is structure. Step 2 is active effort. What is step 3?
Step 3 is review.
Ah, yes, the thing people know they should do but often skip.
Exactly. Many learners love learning new things. New words feel exciting.
But going back to old words feels less exciting.
True, but review is where memory gets stronger.
So, without review, new words disappear.
Very often, yes. If you learn 20 new words this week and forget 20 old words from last week, you aren't really growing.
You're just moving in circles.
Exactly. So you need regular review built into your routine.
How often?
At least once a week is a good starting point for many learners.
So maybe Friday can be review day.
Perfect. On review day, don't focus on collecting more new words. Focus on returning to what you already wrote down.
And what should learners do during review?
Look at the words or phrases in your notebook and make simple sentences with them.
Real sentences, not just isolated words.
Exactly. Let's say one of your new words is delicious.
Then I could say, the soup I had for lunch was delicious.
Perfect. Or if your phrase is make progress, you could say, I want to make progress in my English this month.
That feels much more useful than just reading the word again and again.
It is, because when you build a sentence, you connect the word to meaning and real use.
And that makes it easier to remember later.
Exactly. Review turns loose vocabulary into working vocabulary.
I like that distinction.
It matters a lot. It's one thing to recognize a word. It's another thing to use it.
So, review helps move language from passive knowledge to active knowledge.
Yes, and that is where learners start to feel real progress.
I think that is also motivating. When you can actually use a word in a sentence, it feels like it belongs to you now.
That is beautifully said.
Thank you.
So, step 3 is not glamorous, but it is powerful.
Review is the quiet hero.
I like that.
Okay, now we have structure, active effort, and review. What is step 4?
Step 4 is rest.
I'm glad you said that.
Me too, because many learners think resting means they are not serious enough.
Yes, they feel guilty when they stop.
But your brain is not a machine. It cannot perform well forever without rest.
So, rest is part of the learning process, not the opposite of it.
Exactly. Think about sleep. When you sleep well, your brain works better the next day.
You focus better, remember more, and feel calmer.
Right. But if you are tired, everything becomes harder.
Even easy things feel difficult when you are exhausted.
Exactly. A tired brain learns slowly.
That is such a simple truth, but people forget it all the time.
They do. Some learners think, if I stay up late and study more, I will improve faster.
But often they just become tired, frustrated, and less efficient.
Exactly. More time is not always better time.
So, what does good rest look like for a language learner?
First, get enough sleep. Second, take short breaks when you study. If you do 30 minutes of focused practice, you do not need to keep pushing forever.
That makes sense.
Also, give your brain space. Go for a walk, stretch, sit quietly for a few minutes. Do not fill every second with more input.
I like that advice. Sometimes silence helps too.
It does. Your brain needs time to process what you learned.
So, rest is not laziness, it is recovery.
Exactly. And recovery helps consistency.
Which brings us back to step 1.
Yes, everything connects. If your routine is realistic, active, reviewed, and balanced with rest, you are much more likely to stay with it.
And staying with it is what brings results.
Exactly. Fast improvement does not come from panic. It comes from smart repetition.
That is such an important message.
I think so too. Learners often look for one big trick.
But usually, progress comes from smaller things, done well and done often.
Exactly.
So, let's do a quick recap.
Good idea.
Step 1, make a realistic daily plan.
Keep it structured and consistent.
Step 2, use active effort.
Pause, write, speak, and really interact with the language.
Step 3, review regularly.
Go back, make sentences, and strengthen your memory.
Step 4, rest.
Sleep well, take breaks, and give your brain time to recover.
I really like this approach because it feels practical. It does not tell people to become a different person overnight.
Exactly. It respects real life.
And that matters because the best study system is the one you can actually keep using.
Very true.
So, if someone listening feels stuck right now, what would you say to them?
I would say this. You probably do not need more pressure. You need a better routine.
That's good.
Start small, stay consistent, use active practice, review what you learn, and rest without guilt.
That sounds like a much healthier way to learn.
I think it is.
And honestly, it sounds more effective too.
Yes, learning faster is not always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing the right things in the right way.
I hope our listeners really remember that.
Me too.
And now we want to hear from you. Which of these 4 steps do you already do well?
And which one do you want to improve this week?
Do you already keep an English notebook?
Do you review regularly?
Or do you need more rest?
Tell us in the comments.
And if this episode helped you, don't forget to subscribe to Daily English Loop.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
Keep practicing.
Keep going.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye!